So, this little tree, my son got me over by the bank. It was growing out of a crack, and if you can see, it has a little bit of a root base there. The tap root, which was like way far down, broke off, and it's got two little branches here. See those two little branches, and then couple roots up there. I'm gonna use a pre-wire on this and give a little bit of shape to the main trunk, and let's just see what we come up with. I'm actually kind of proud of him for grabbing this because he's very shy, and he's not one to stop and get me something like this, because me, I'll just walk up and, oh, hey tree, let's go home. So many people view, oh, I need a bigger one. See that I misjudged it. I kind of want to keep all this. This is too short by several inches. So I'm going to take this off and we'll grab another one. Anyway, people view the trees as weeds. This literally was growing out of a crack in the parking lot, and so it would have been viewed as a weed and most likely chopped off and not given a second thought, because who's going to want it? You know, nobody. The majority of my bonsai collection is literally just that. And so I'm going to put this back on here. And, or maybe I won't. It's not cooperating. Isn't that cooperating? Oh, because I stretched it out. Alright, we'll work with it later. I need to grab a bigger one. Probably that one. So I stop. Store parking lots are great places to find little bonsai trees. I have a Cascade bonsai over here. This little guy. Beautiful Cascade bonsai that I picked up literally as a weed growing in the parking lot off to one side. Had I not got there before the landscapers, that would have been chopped off by a weed eater, and if it had survived, it would have maybe grown back up next year, because I see that sometimes. The trees get whacked off by a weed eater, and then they develop a thick base. Some of the trees up by the Safeway down the road are living as hedge, because they get chopped off and then they grow among the hedge, and then they just are shaped into the hedge, and you don't notice them until spring or fall when they change the colors. Anyway, so I'm getting this guy wired up, and then he's going to live in a gravy boat. This is an antique gravy boat, and for starters there's charcoal and some smaller soil bits in there, and almost to the top here. here this guy is wired up. And let's see what kind of a shape we can get this guy. Very young tree, so very impressionable. So we'll go with that. And we got a couple of branches on the side. And it'll go in the pot like so. Alright. There's also this fern that's going to live in there with it. So I think we'll start with that fern. The fern likes that tree matter so well. I usually have a soil scoop that I use, and I don't have it today. But I could use it. Oh, there's my phone. Hold on. Alright. Makeshift scoop. These are like water bottles. Maybe someday I'll buy a scoop, official soil scoop. But my son made me one out of a water bottle. I was like, hey, that's actually really cool. And they're expensive to buy. My grandfather's neighbor taught me. Because I thought for a long time I couldn't afford to do bonsai. And he taught me that bonsai is free. That you don't need all this extra, just go out and gather your materials. Your trees are free, the soil is free, the rocks are free, and very impressed by that, because it got me into this hobby, whereas had I waited until I could afford to buy official bonsai tools, official bonsai soil, official bonsai trees, I probably might have not have done it. I might have given up. But you can go out and you can gather your own rocks, your own trees, your own, this little tree lived in a bottle here with said drink as some water to drink on the way home from the bank until I could get it in its pot. Hold on. Anyway, that was a good life lesson that I learned from him. He was a tiny little Japanese man, and I love being able to go next door and watch him work on his trees. And he finally said to me one day, why don't you have anything to work on? And I told him because I couldn't afford it. And he said, bonsai is free. Bonsai is free, and you go and you find your things. And he took me for a walk around the neighborhood, and he just shuffled along. I don't even know how old this man was, but he was up there in age. And he took my little 14-year-old self around the neighborhood and showed me, look here, there's a little tree, get it. And we took a little bucket, a little tin bucket, and we gathered trees, and we gathered rocks, and we gathered branches, and we gathered moss, and we come back, and he said, okay, he said, in the garage, find a bowl. And there were all different types of bowls that he gathered from garage sales and things. He never went to the store. all his things came from lesser places, not higher places. And that was a really humbling, extremely wonderful thing to learn, because that way I was able to start on a hobby that I not only dearly loved and was very impressed by, I was able to continue doing it throughout my life without having to worry about how am I going to afford this. So I got some moss that I'm gathering out of my trays here, and I use my tweezers when I place it, because sometimes it's very delicate. There's already a fern down there. Can't remember what this little moss is. I don't usually buy commercial moss, but this one isn't commercial moss. I'm gonna stick some of that in there. It's a little dry right now, but I've just watered it, so it should fluff up really good. I'll leave that one right there, and it'll poof off. Right now I'm living I was going to say, right now I live in the city, and it's very noisy sometimes.
Good morning.
All right. There's this guy. Different types of moss and ferns. And that leaf isn't looking so hot. I think we'll trim that off. If there's leaves that aren't looking good, go ahead and cut them off, because then the plant won't focus on trying to repair them. It'll focus on repairing other areas. I like the way this one has the main branch, and it has two other little branches that are coming up. You can see I don't have a dark background or anything, so it's hard to see these guys. Alright. There, that guy is done. I picked up these dishes that I'm probably going to fill with moss. It's already got a fern in there. I'll find some places to put these guys. I'm probably going to buy another shelf because I have 2 shelves full of trees, full of, this guy is an oak tree that was cut back really bad. It was going to be tossed in the burn pile. I'm hoping it's going to pick up and do better. This rose bush back here, the same. They're still looking pretty good. This little oak tree. Here's my blue star juniper. All my evergreens have got a little bit of brown on them this year. The city sprayed something, and I don't know, my trees got it on them. My blue spruce lost most of its needles from it. I'm not happy about it. I don't like losing my trees. And then I got the top shelf up there that has quite a few trees as well. Anyway, I will talk at you guys again later, and we're going to end this one right here. See you again soon.